Hi everybody, so these things, pens, I mean it's surprising what kind of technology is right under your nose and what can become astoundingly useful. Of course the pen, it dates back to ancient Egyptian times when they were basically using brushes or reed pens. And the earliest ones about 3000 BC. Of course during the Middle Ages they developed into quill pens and dip pens. Now a quill pen or a dip pen you can make yourself from a can of Coca-Cola. It's dead simple. Use your scissors, cut the bottom off the can. Put that to one side for later. Cut your can into a scrap of metal. We just need a square out of this. That's plenty. Fold it roughly in half, pinch one end, leave the other. Then somewhere about half to 2/3 up, cut into it. So you get something like that. Wrap that bit around your stick. Bit of tape to hold it. Then pinch the end there and cut like a knife shape going up that piece. So like this. So that's what you get. Then another bit of tape to hold those bits together. Like that. Then we take our wet and dry and just give it a couple of runs over the wet and dry. That's it. Okay, so what have we just done? Well, we just made a pen and an inkwell. So the bottom of the can becomes your inkwell. You pour your ink into your inkwell. And this is your pen. You dip it in, give it a knock, and you'll have a pen you can write with. By no means a calligrapher. Of course, quill pens and dip pens are awesome, with only one slight drawback: they leak and blotch and smudge. And it was in 1888 that the first ballpoint pen came out, but it was actually a bit of a failure by John Loud. It wasn't until 1938 that it was Laszlo Biro who solved all the problems, because the problems with the ballpoint pen aren't actually to do with the ballpoint. They're a combination of factors, including the chemistry of the pen ink. Now, Laszlo was a newspaper writer, and he noticed that newspaper ink dried quickly once it was applied. So he talked to his brother, and they came out with an ink that had the right viscosity so that the ink didn't blob around the ball, because the idea of rolling a ball in a socket and coating it with ink, like I say, had been around since 1888. So these things are beautifully made. In there is a ball bearing less than 0.5 millimetre across, and this cost 13 pence. So that level of engineering is available for pennies from your local supermarket. So of course I want to take advantage of that engineering in my project, because one of the big issues you've got when you're working with wind turbines and generation is friction from the bearings. So a very low friction bearing would be brilliant, and we've used magnets to create those bearings, but they have their own issues. And I thought, well, I wonder if we can use that ballpoint pen to make some bearings. So I came up with this in Tinkercad. Now that flat disc there has 3 points on it, and you pull off the pen nibs and stick them in those points. So they point like a little tripod going towards the centre like that. And that is the right size to take this, which is a 1.2 centimetre ball bearing, and it rides beautifully on the top, just like that. And that should make me a very low friction bearing. A made this cup to go over there, and it's got an 8mm hole to take an axle. Next thing to do is to make this cage up. Now in this cage we've got 2 bearings. The job of these bearings is to stop the thing sliding that way. They don't take any thrust in that direction. Pop your flywheel on there. This flywheel is from something else actually, but it's got a whole load of magnets around it. So if we wanted to turn this into a generator, you just put a coil in there. Then of course we put the cup holding the ball bearing. The ball bearing's been glued in. That just goes on the bottom of the 8mm bar, and then we put that cage on there. Okay, there it is, finished. Now, the weight of this flywheel is on those 3 balls of the ballpoint pen. If I pull this bit of string, then we should get it to act like a flywheel. So let's give that a go and see what happens. And then she spins. Now, I've used this is the pen actually. It's just a standard Bic pen that I've used, and that'll make it a stainless steel ball. I did wash out the ink, and I have sprayed it with some silicone lubricant to help. That's still going! There's some silicone lubricant to help it. But you can get those pens in ceramic. You can get them in tungsten. It will say on the packet what the ball is made of, because of course, you know, they like to look at that. They like to shout about these things. Anyway, there we go. 1 thrust bearing made out of ballpoint pen nibs that works brilliantly for reducing the friction. And of course, we've got a flywheel generator right there. Imagine what that would be like with a wind turbine. That's amazing, actually. That's brilliant, eh? So there we go. A nice piece of work I thought I would share with you. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. And please do remember to like and subscribe.